In Memphis, nothing comes easy, and that's exactly how we like it. This is a city built on hustle, on heart, on grit. And at Carway, our rides are built the same way. Tough, reliable, ready for the grind. No games, no gimmicks, just Memphis-style service. Real, honest, and built on trust. Where grit meets grind, you meet your next ride. Carway, grit, grind, and Pink Beetles. In Memphis, we know a thing or two about resilience. From the grindhouse to the Delta, we protect what's ours. But when pests invade your home, it's time to fight back. Grade A Pest knows how to handle what crawls, flies, and bites. With local experience and guaranteed results.
I'm Reggie with Grade A Pest Control. We service the Memphis metro area. That also includes DeSoto and Fayette County as well.
Grade A Pest has the entire Mid-South covered. So if bugs and pests put you to the test, let Grade A solve your problem. Bluff City Media presents the Two Buck Sports Show with your hosts, Rusty Buckets and Uncle Buck. Now, let's get to the show.
Welcome to the Two Buck Sports Show with your host, Rusty Buckets.
What's up, everybody? Happy Tuesday, and welcome to the Two Buck Sports Show. I am your co-host, Rusty Buckets. As my guy Wayno said from down under, we are live on Bluff City Media's YouTube channel, and we are proudly brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Wayno, how are you doing in the great future that is across the pond?
I'm good. I really shouldn't have swallowed before I tried to do that intro because I was like choking on my caffeine and water. No, I'm good, man. I'm excited to be here. Thanks for the call up.
Yeah,
I'm ready to talk some hoops, man. This is what I do. This is what I live for.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Comments are already popping off. We got Wayno in the comments and on your screen. We got David Owens. We got Carter 901 hanging out with us. We appreciate all of y'all, even if you're here for a brief time like David is saying he is. But we are glad to be here talking Grizzlies on the day that the Grizzlies do play. And Wayno, we talked about it a bit yesterday on Sunday, and then yesterday's show, the Two Buck Sports Show, like the Grizzlies are coming in on a 2-game winning streak, and some people are super upset about it. Man, what are your thoughts about this winning streak?
This is it, boys. This is the moment we've all been waiting for this season. This is where we put it all together. We put this crazy 22-game win streak together, and we're sliding into the play-in, and then we win the chip. That's what we're doing. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, that's it. That is where our future is now heading. We are play-in bound, and I don't think you can really gather anything else from this season, correct?
This is the Cinderella story right here, guys. That's how confident I
am. I mean, listen, like, it's okay to win some basketball games. We're not going to win a whole bunch. Like, the Grizzlies are what they are, and they're not a play-in or playoff team. But you can't tank so well that you don't win another game. Like, you have to win some games here and there in order to pay your homage to the basketball gods. If you think Adam Silver is going to mess with you, then you have to win some games and protect the integrity of the game. And that's what we did. We beat two bad teams, and look at us. We're still 8th in the lottery odds.
Yeah, I mean, it's that thing. You know, I think Drew mentioned it the other day on the show, and I think we've all kind of been echoing it. Like, tanking is one thing, and bottoming out, you know, is certainly a part of, I suppose, the strategy moving forward. But you've got to stay competitive. You can't extinguish the flame of some, like, especially with young guys. Like, the last thing you want to do is build a culture of losing. And like, when you have, I mean, look, you know, we can say what we want about the talent on the roster compared to the rest of the league, but when you have guys like, you know, Cam Spencer in particular, like, you know, and how fiery and how much like he just hates to lose. Like, I never want our players to lose those edges. So I think it's real important that, like, we do get the wins when we can. We are going to drop games because our talent level isn't up to, say, the speed of where a Minnesota is right now. So yeah, I think it's important to get the wins when you can, celebrate them when you can, because, man, we've still got 20-something games left, and think back to the start of this season and how everything's unfolded. Like, us fans, we deserve a W every now and then.
And that's okay, right? We do deserve a win here and there. We're fans. We're fanatics. Yes, we understand losing benefits this team more than winning, but we don't want to see them lose every single game. And, like, hold your horses, because tonight you're probably going to get a loss and it's going to help in the lottery odds. But despite our 2-game winning streak, we're a game ahead of Chicago and we're 2.5 games back of Dallas. So we're still right where we were before we won the 2 games, in the 8th spot. Chicago won 1. Over the weekend, they won their most recent game. We've won 2. Like, I don't think we're going to be caught. Milwaukee has come out and said, Giannis has come out and said, look, I'm coming back and we're going to compete like hell to get to the play-in game. And so I don't think these teams behind us are necessarily going to be fighting to try and catch us or do a good job of catching us, because our schedule, I don't know if you peeked ahead, is pretty brutal coming up. Yeah. Starting tonight, there are some tough games ahead.
Yeah, this game tonight feels like the start of the onslaught a bit, to be honest with you. So I'm happy for that 2-game win streak. I'll try and ride that for the rest of the season now.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I go to the FedEx Forum tomorrow night, so I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I wouldn't want to see us beat Portland tomorrow night just because I'm going to be there. It would be a fun game to watch. But tonight, over on FanDuel, the Timberwolves, in the game that we've been kind of beating around the bush about, are a 13-point favorite, Wayno, a 13-point favorite tonight in Minnesota. Is there any chance in the Kyle Anderson revenge game for the Grizzlies to get a win tonight?
Is there a chance? Of course there's a chance. There's always a chance. Those odds, I'd imagine, are what they are, though.
Yeah.
Quick question. Is that little tear on Zach Edey I see there, is that from his harsh words from Drew Gann? Is that what that is?
No, it's because I'm sad that Zach Edey is now out for the rest of the year.
I know. Look, there was a real small part of me that just wanted to see him come back for, like, just give me 5 games to end the season out, just to install a bit of, like, hope and promise, as we, fold the season and head into the draft and all that goodness coming up. And I was just like, man, just give us like a handful of games with Edey back, just so we can see how this thing really looks and with the new pieces. And
yeah. I mean, that's it, man. I wish that we could have seen that, but also, like I said yesterday, he would have screwed up the tank because he's amazing. 100%. And there was that stretch there. He had like 32-17. He had 19-10, 15-16. Like, he's an absolute just monster. And outside of Cam Spencer, might be the most competitive dude on this roster that wants to win as bad as he wants to breathe. And so not having him back this season helps us in our tanking odds for those of you mad at the Grizzlies. Like, can you imagine those folks that are mad at the Grizzlies for one of those 2 games if Zach Edey had come back and we just went on an absolute tear?
Oh, I had a little bit of a funny thought the other night because I thought, I wonder how long before Cam goes under the knife to end the season. Because it feels like between Cam and Edey, the guys who just like hungry to play and win, and just like that's the only way you can get them, to sit out, and be okay with it almost. So I had a bit of a chuckle of that, but
because Cam, his brother Pat said that Cam plays the game the right way. He's frustrated with how this season's going, and most players are. Like, this tanking, as we talked about, is an organizational decision. The players aren't out there purposely trying to lose. They're trying to get that moment that, I hit a 3 over Anthony Edwards, right? I dunked on Gobert. Like, we punked Minnesota on their home court. That's going to be the mindset tonight, right? Like, Gigi's looking to dunk on Gobert. I guarantee you Ty Jerome's going to try and tie Anthony Edwards in a knot when he gets a chance tonight. Like, this team's not out there purposely losing, but then when you get a hot hand, and we've seen it, right? Ty Jerome and Gigi sitting most of the fourth quarter, especially those crunch minutes to let the game get a little bit out of hand before they go back in. Like, it's an organizational decision.
Look, you've missed the biggest headline of this game today, though. It's the SloMo revenge game.
That's it. Kyle Anderson, who was mad at Zach. Like, I literally saw a tweet saying that nobody wants to play for Zach Kleiman. Kyle Anderson is mad at Zach Kleiman, and that's why he left. And it's like, buddy, he wanted to go compete, man. Like, not everything's that serious. You know what I mean?
And that's where I'm kind of like, I like the signing of Taj Gibson.
Yeah.
He's a guy who's, been there, done that. He's a guy who also, I found out today, he actually has the same agent as Edie. I think it is.
Oh, how about that?
Yeah, same agent. But he also had the same ankle surgery early in his career as Zach's about to have. So, and he played. Well, I mean, he's still playing. He's still going, right? So the motor's still good. I'm sad to see SloMo go because he'll always hold like a special, a special part with me as far as like this Grizz team and us turning the corner on Jaren and Jar, and like he was there early on, like he was early on with that success against Golden State, and I think most Grizz fans really appreciate SloMo and were sad to see him kind of go.
I mean, he's an aggressive player. He gets kind of chippy. He's got attitude. He got chippy in a couple games that he was here with us. But I also don't blame him for he's 32. He's getting in the back half twilight of his career. Like, go try and win while you can. And Minnesota is a team that has a puncher's chance in the Western Conference, right? They back-to-back Western Conference finals. Like, this is a team that has the dogs to get there. I don't blame him for doing that. And to your Taj Gibson point, like, Taj Gibson accomplishes two things. He gives us a vet leader on a team with a bunch of young guys, and he's 40 years old. He's not going to go out there and have some career resurgence to where he's just going to be awesome. But he gives you a body at center.
Yeah, definitely. He hasn't played yet, has he?
No, he's out for conditioning, returning to game conditioning, which basically means he's out for being out of shape.
Fair. I mean, like a 2-year deal. I kind of hope just he sticks around. I know is it a player option the next year, I think?
No, it's not. All I know is it's not guaranteed.
Right.
And it's definitely not going to be a player's option. It's going to be a team option. There's no way they're going to give him the option.
Yeah, I do think there is some truth to, like players respond well to former players and things like that. And I just would like to see a guy like that, take a role after his time in Memphis. And I don't know, man, it's just time for a new culture here. It's just time for some, like, we've learned a lot of lessons. I think our GMs learn a lot of lessons from the past. And, I think one of the things that really comes up a lot is that, that veteran presence. And like, I was always a bit salty when we lost Crowder. I thought Crowder was really good early on. He would have been like a good mainstay guy.
He was the only one that had Ja's ear, right? Yeah. He was the only one that could get to Ja.
Because it was so early on. With Ja at that time. I just would like to see, no disrespect to whoever's filling the role now, but having a guy like Taj come in with all that experience, players respect, having a guy like that move into like player development or something like that later on, like just to help steady the course for like the new core that's coming through.
Right. And I think that's a good conversation to have about like we've talked about the lessons the players have learned, the ones Ja never learned. Jaren couldn't learn either, but like Zach Kleiman is getting an opportunity to do something a lot of GMs don't get. And that's hit, reset, and rebuild again. Because he took over on the rebuild after Grit and Grind and kind of built the Grizz next gen, and it fell apart, right? We were the lovable losers. We had the worst superstars you and I were talking about in the green room to build around, like John Morant, who hates other people's success, right? He got upset that Jaren was successful and got an extension. He's liking things on X talking about Walter Clayton Jr.'s like bad mouth, like kind of throwing shade at Walter Clayton Jr. breaking his rookie record. Like he's the worst superstar to build around. And so
like, yeah, like I'm sure for many of us, you know, out there in the real world, so to speak, you know, we've all had those mates who are quick to tell us to pull our head in.
Right.
You know, like, hey, like, you know, you're acting up, stop, like, why are you being like this? Like, you know, and to set you on line, and it just feels a bit like as
Drew and I've had those conversations together where like I've checked him, he's checked me to get our heads together with things going on in our lives to focus and refocus. And those never took with John Morant. But now Zach Kleiman has an opportunity to rebuild a second opportunity, like a second opportunity to rebuild, to build a new direction for this team. Like, as we head into the draft, I guess this is a good conversation to start having. We're still a ways away from the draft, and we won't know what our pick is until May the 10th. But, like, what are you looking for from Zach Kleiman as we head towards the draft? Like, does he need to go hit some home runs and like, make sure we get a top 4? Is there a path where we're picking, like, mid-late lotto, like, where we can still build? Like, what are some things you need to see from ZK in this iteration of rebuilding it?
Yeah, look, he brought up, you know, himself that, you know, this is not a long-term rebuild. I think it's important to go in and get and look, I suppose this is my biggest thing with, you know, with AJ versus Boozer for me. It's like I want a bit more of a sure thing. I mean, I appreciate AJ and what he can bring to the table, but I also think like, all right, like as far as raw talent goes, yeah, AJ probably has, you know, quite a few steps on Boozer, but I just feel like Boozer is a guy who's going to get you production from day dot. And he's just going to be one of those mainstay guys, you know, that's just going to, like, once he hits the league, I think it's just going to be inevitable. And like, he's just going to be one of those power workhorses, you know, like that's just going to get the job done. And I kind of want that from this year's draft, to be honest. Like, I kind of have a little bit of a question for you. Like, I know I'm sort of sidestepping the Kleiman thing a bit, but
come on.
Do you feel like the NBA, we've hit this, like, do NBA teams still develop bigs anymore? Like, are teams still taking, you know, we always talk about like the bigs being taking a little longer to come along and develop and whatnot. Oh, my dog just ran off with my shoe. That sucks. Sorry. So do you feel like the league as a whole is still willing to commit to, say, like a 4-year plan for a big, or do you feel like if they're not showing anything by the second year, they're kind of phased?
That's an interesting thought, because you're right. Like, people don't develop their bigs, and I'll kind of even, like, Edward says the Cavs develop their bigs nicely. Like, I say to a degree, because Jared Allen has not been a playoff guy. Like, he has not played well. He's not played in the playoffs because he kind of ducked the playoffs with his injuries and stuff. And so I don't think so.
Yeah, like, and he wasn't always with the Cavs either. Do you know what I mean? Like, his development really came with Brooklyn, and then and they're taking out years. They just took the gambles and moved him and made the play for KD and whatnot. So I don't know about that.
I think that you think about the bigs who have developed, right? Like Nikola Jokic, he developed, but I think he's just that talented in Denver. Cat developed across a career from Minnesota to New York City, like to the Knicks. So Edwards referencing Lauri Markkanen and Evan Mobley, and Lauri Markkanen. I don't know that. Like,
these were all like older players though, and I'm talking about like within the span of the last, say, 3 years, because I really feel like that's the time where, like, it's been notable to me anyway that, like, I don't think teams are taking these 4-year leaps with the bigs anymore. It's like if they can't develop or if they can't show something by year 2, no team's really going to sit on a guy on that bench for 4 seasons for a maybe.
Well, it goes back to what I believe it was Bill Walton had said, like, before he passed away, RIP, like, if you show me the box score and the team that shot the most threes, I'll tell you who won the game, right? Like, there's not really a game for bigs anymore. We're not like we were in the heyday of the 90s, which is why Zach Kleiman said teams are going to have to make a plan for us with Zach Edey. And in my opinion, even more so if you're able to get a guy like Cam Boozer early. Thomas Howell from Florida in the late lottery is another big 6'9" power forward who could be another threat on this team. Like, teams that have to plan for us because we got guys that are developing. I think Zach Edey, we're just scratching the potential of what he can be. Again, not to bury the lead, we are being just extra cautious with this injury, and I don't think this is going to be a long-term thing at all. And so, I think we're going to be fine. And I think we're going to be a team that can develop some bigs that teams are going to have to account for. The Pistons develop bigs. I think they used to. Jalen Duren is making a case for that return now. Beef Stew is okay.
I didn't think they're taking that.
And what bigs have Boston developed? I can't think
I
of
don't
one.
know. I'll probably give you the Nas Reed one in Minnesota. I think that's fair. They could have moved him on. They could have even moved away from Gobert and brought him into the starting lineup. And I think they were prepared to sit on him and see what he could do. And they paid him as well. Yeah, Detroit, I'm not too sure about. I'll give you Duran, but other than that, yeah, I don't know. I just feel like in these past 3 seasons, we've really seen teams, and I don't know if it's just the gamble, they're just unwilling, I suppose, to take that. I don't know. I just can't really recall recent times of teams that are willing to, bank on bigs, really.
Well, again, the game's kind of evolved to where it's not really a big man game anymore. And I think there's a lot more risk with bigs, right? You see bigs come in with knee problems, foot problems, ankle problems, things that happen a lot. I saw Quaintance game the other day, Carter 901, but consistent. That's one game. He had a double-double before halftime. Everybody can get hot, right? I need to see it more consistent. I still wouldn't call that a development yet. But there's a lot more risk with those guys because mileage on them, like a running back in the NFL, to make a football connection here, it adds up quickly. And so I think a lot of teams are spending more time developing their backcourt than their front court because of the speed and pace of the NBA. And if a guy like Zach Edey, if you can pair him with another big who can be a plug-and-play guy like Cam Boozer, teams are going to have to make changes for us and game plan for Memphis again. So for me, Kermit coming all the way back, circling all the way back, and we know you're not, Carter. We're just throwing your comments up here and talk about it. He is coming along well. Yeah, we're just having a conversation, man, for sure. But circling all the way back for me, I don't think we need to go get that splash home run. If we land in the top 4 and we get a Cam Boozer, an AJ DeBansta, Caleb Wilson, somebody like that, obviously that's icing on the cake and going to make this rebuild even shorter. But I think the smart move here, and what I think likely can happen, is if we pick in the late lottery, we move up into the back half of the late lottery. And by late lottery, I mean, let's say we landed 8, which is where we're currently sitting. There's still going to be some guys in there that you can get and build on. I think in that range, and then in the 14 to 18 range where that Magic pick's going to end up, there's going to be a lot of guys that ZK can go get. They're going to be a bit more plug and play ready. Some names, for instance. I think Darius Acuff is a guy who can come in and play pretty early, pretty consistently. Yeah. Thomas Howell from Florida is a guy that's plug and play that can start. Karim Lopez, the professional hooper over in New Zealand, is a guy that can play pretty early. And Bennett Sturts from Iowa, who's a point guard. He's a 4-year point guard at Iowa, an assist machine. Those are 4 guys that you can get in those picks that would be guys who can help us develop. So I'm not Edward says we need a home run and a double, a solid double. I think if we hit a couple really solid doubles with the talent we already have, then ZK will have done a good job in this draft.
Yeah. I agree with all that. I'm just looking for a bit more proven. I would take a Boozer over an AJ, in an ideal world. That's just my take.
Agreed.
I just feel like you're going to get instant impact and the timeline's going to line up a little bit better as far as who we have when healthy, what the team's about, and also
that fits ZK's timeline a little bit better. Sorry to interrupt, but if this was his first rebuild, when he was starting out as a fresh GM, you might could take a chance on the AJ DeBansta, who has a little bit longer of a runway. But this is his second rebuild, and so I agree 100%. Cam Boozer feels more like the ready-made pick because that's going to be a guy that can contribute now at a very high level, and there might be a bit of a learning curve with AJ.
Yeah, and look, I say all that to bring it right around with, as far as like the bigs and then take a little time and teams maybe not doing that so much these days. I think we've actually done a really good job in the past of doing that. So like credit to like think of like how long we developed Jake LaRavia for. Do you know? Think how long? Oh, look, GG Jackson. Do you know what I mean? So like I'm actually like really happy with our franchise as far as like willing to allocate that time for development for some of our guys and see who really shines end of the day.
I agree with the guys we already have. And then if you can get some rookies who can come in and kind of contribute and play early without much of a learning curve, like those are the kind of guys that I think ZK should chase in this year's draft, because there's plenty of them, which we'll talk about after the commercial break here in a minute. Some guys that we've watched recently and deep dive a bit on some college basketball. But I think this is a good conversation to start having, because like there's so many unknowns heading towards the draft. We're still 2 months away from knowing who we're even like what picks we're even going to have. And so we need to start, as fans, like start thinking about all the scenarios. I, down in my gut, feel like we're going to get a top 4 pick, but there's a contingency plan for that. There needs to be a contingency plan if we land 7 to 9. There needs to be a contingency plan for trading up into the back half of the first round, which we talked about in the green room before the show. I personally think that we're going to pick at least twice, if not 3 times, in the first round, and then a 4th. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if we walked away with 4 picks in this draft, A, because of the depth of the draft, B, because that's the best way for us to rebuild this thing. And ZK is, like, for his flaws from a free agency standpoint, is a scouting wizard when it comes to like college players.
Yeah, I mean, look, this is the I mean, before the start of this season, if you wanted to make plant your flag on getting rid of the GM, like I would have been like, I could really see your point. But now the direction we're moving, I'm kind of like the opposite. I'd like pull that flag out, because we've got the guy that hits more than misses. We've got multiple picks. Like, I want to see what magic he can work. I mean, nothing surprises me more than the the Wells, Edie, and Cam draft. Like 3 bang straight out of the bat, and I was like, that's a good hit rate. Like, this guy's
for sure.
All GMs have misses. That's just the name of the game, but
it happens. Yeah, it happens. Carter asked, do you think we'll get a big name in free agency? I'll let you go first. Do you think we go get a big household name from free agency?
Do I think we'll try? I don't know if that's the direction we're heading for right now. It depends, I guess, how big a name you're looking for. I think there's still room to bring in like a savvy vet, proven vets. I want that's kind of like my biggest disappointment of losing Jock, was just like, I wanted a vet who still part of the rotations. KCP, I love KCP, but like, is he still going to be around next season? So I suppose if you ask me, are we going to bring in a superstar? I think absolutely not. I think we're going to develop our talent, especially over next season. And, instead of anointing the next Ja Morant, the next Jared, like, let's just see who puts their hand up. Let's see who becomes inevitable. Yeah.
I'm so sorry. During that, I got interrupted.
Right.
Milo drags off your shoe. Shelby's over here cutting farts that is peeling the paint. Like, nothing worse than a surprise dog fart. She's sound asleep over here, and I get punched in the nose by a dog fart. What an awful experience.
Yes.
It is the worst. I agree with all that. I do not think we're going to go for a big household name in free agency. I don't know that we're going to I think I agree with Edward. We're probably going to move Brandon Clark, one of Scottie Pippen Jr. or Ty, and definitely Ja this offseason. Like, I think one of those guys is going to be gone, but I don't know that we're going to replace them with a household name per se. I think we get a fringe. Like, Ty Jerome was on nobody's radar last year when we signed him. We may get a guy like that, but I just feel like I really feel like Zach Kleiman is going to put all his eggs in the scouting basket and go see if he can't find that household name in the draft.
Just before we go to our break, Ed, just thank you for giving me the assist, brother. Because I had in my notes, we didn't touch on it at the start, but like, you talked about losing Scottie Pippen Jr. Well, one of the things in my notes, like, especially over the last, since he's been back, but I think the Portland game was his first game back, I want to say. Anyway, since him coming back, I have been more on the side of we need to keep Pip. I have been more on the side of we need to keep him because as far as like having those vets, I feel like Pip's that guy. And he's a guy that we developed.
Mm-hmm.
He's been through the ropes. Like if anyone can give young guys struggling to find playing time, to find a role, it's Scottie Pippen Jr. Like he's kind of one of us. Like I don't think we need to let him go. So I guess in a way I'll just kind of answer my own like complaint. Really, it's like we kind of have Scottie Pippen Jr. who is that guy and does still perform, does still play, has played G League, has worked his way through the ranks. If anyone has a chip on his shoulder, it's that guy with the name on the back of his jersey for sure. You know, so maybe we just haven't seen him all season, and he's been right under our nose the whole time.
Yeah, which is why I'm not big on we got to go get Darius Acuff or even Christian Anderson, who I also like from Texas Tech, or LeBaron Philon from Alabama. Like, I'm okay with platooning a point guard of Scottie Pippen Jr., Ty Jerome, and Cam Spencer and just seeing what you have when you could go invest in areas of need. How long have we needed a wing in Memphis since Rudy Gay left? Like, maybe let's let Gigi continue to develop and let him be that guy. Go get a Cam Boozer. Go get a guy, then go get a Thomas Hall who can be another, power forward 3-4 combo guy. Go get, some of the like a JT Toppin in the second round who's just a gritty wing from Texas Tech. Like there are guys we could go fill other needs with. And I'm okay with the point guards that we have. You don't necessarily need a superstar point guard in today's NBA, especially not in Tomas Isolo's system when there's so many hands that are touching the ball and it starts with a high pick and roll. Anybody can do that. Let's go fill some of those other needs. And I'm okay with keeping Scottie Pippen Jr. He's one of our enforcers. He's tough. He plays super hard. He's already shown what he can do. He went toe-to-toe with SGA in game 4 of that playoff game. Now, he was the only one contributing, but he had like 30 points in a playoff game.
I feel like we don't talk about that enough, that performance. Like, considering like where the team was, the morale, what the team morale was at that time, the fact that Pippen Jr. was doing that when we still had Bane and Jaren Jackson Jr. Like they really like showed their colors a little bit, it was their opportunity to take the mantle, to take the team.
Seize the moment. Yeah.
Seize the moment. Yes. Thank you. Perfect. And it was Pippen Jr. who did it.
It was Mighty Mouse. It was our smallest player. It was Scottie Pippen Jr.
Yeah.
And then this year, when we're getting punked night in and night out by these teams and getting, in a game that gets chippy, who is the one that goes to bat for the team? Scottie Pippen Jr. He goes and chokes Myron Gardner on the sideline. Like Scottie Pippen Jr. is a guy that I was a little slow on signing him off the two-way. Now I'm like, let's keep him and let him and Ty Jerome handle the point guard duties. Because again, is he the best point guard? No. Is he, he's small. Is he going to hold up for years and years and years? We don't know. But he could be a guy that allows us to go fill and address other needs. I'm looking at the wing position. I'm looking at a running mate for Zach Edey, even some Zach Edey insurance. Though, again, I don't think there's anything long-term is going to be an issue. But if you can get a Jayden Quaintance or somebody or the big from Michigan late in the first, early in the second, let's go address some of those other needs first.
Yeah.
And let Ty Jerome and Scottie Pippen Jr. handle the point guard duties. I have no beef with that whatsoever.
Yeah, and I think also, I suppose, just before we go to intermission, I chase my dog from upstairs, is that, for us fans, we've had this Jaren era, Bane era. It's important to wipe away the expectation of we need to replace those guys. Do you know what I mean? Like, as far as like, whoa, we're going to draft the next Jar, we're going to draft the next Jaren. Like, no, like let's wipe that clear. Like we've had a franchise point guard. That doesn't mean we need to go draft our next franchise point guard. If that player is not available at the pick, then as we've all echoed, kind of like take best available. Talent.
Yeah. I don't think like
let the cream rise to the top, and whoever.
The No Bluffing Podcast is going to hate to hear this, but I don't think we have to go draft Darius Acuff. If he's there, if we're picking at 8 and he's there, absolutely, you sprint to the podium and get that guy. But I don't think you need to go reach and try and move up and make sure you beat everybody to get him, because there are other areas of needs, in my opinion, that we need to address sooner than a point guard.
Yeah, and look, that's not to say that like he wouldn't fit well either. Like,
sure, yeah,
he'd be amazing.
There's nothing against him. Yeah,
he'd be amazing in Memphis uniform. I like have been watching a little bit more college recently, actually, but yeah, I totally agree. We should take an intermission real quick.
Yeah, real quick before we go, I got a best bet. Wayno, if you need to go deal with your dog, I'm going to talk about the best bet on FanDuel. Wayno's going to go make sure his shoe is not destroyed. And before we head to commercial break, I got my Bucks best bet of the day over on FanDuel. It is a NBA parlay for the games tonight, including a Memphis Grizzly. A former Memphis Grizzly. I had a Grizz on here, and then I took it off because I'm tired of betting with my heart and losing. So I got a 4-leg parlay for you. I got Knipple going over 20 points. I got Jalen Duren, who's been hot lately, and Con has done that in 4 of his last 5. He had an off night the other night where he only scored 19. I think 20 is well within reach for him because he's had games of 24, 26, and 28 recently. Jalen Duren, same thing. Had an off night the other night where he only scored 18, but this guy has been on a absolute tear since coming back from injury, and they're playing the Cavaliers. So I expect high-level basketball. Jalen Duren has been up to the call, answering the bell lately. So I'm taking him 20+ tonight against Cleveland. Desmond Bane to make 3+ threes. He went the other night. He started the game 5 for 5. I think that's pretty well even or pretty well a good bet to have. And then lastly, Naz Reid over 6.5 rebounds in the game against Memphis tonight. Who's going to stop him is my thing. He's averaging like right at 5.5 rebounds. He's the odds-on favorite for 6th man of the year over on FanDuel. We talked about on the Daily Grind this morning. Who's going to stop him from rebounding? So I got Naz Reid over 6.5 rebounds for plus 1985. Wayno, welcome back. Did you get your shoe?
I agree with everything you said.
Good deal. Good deal. Well, hey, we're going to hit a quick commercial break. On the other side, we are going to talk some college hoops, some guys that we've been watching, and we got some things we want to discuss. So stick with us after this brief commercial break.
Tired of the same old fast food? The soggy fries, the frozen flavors, the meals that never quite hit right. Head over to Waldo's Chicken and Beer, where everything starts fresh and flavor comes first. Our chicken is fried in rich beef tallow for that bold, old-school crunch you can actually taste. And don't skip the premium homemade southern sides, fresh greens, hearty white beans, and creamy mac and cheese made to complete the meal. Bring your whole family. There's plenty of space to relax. Plus a game room the kids will love. Catch the game on big screens. Grab a drink at the full bar and enjoy happy hour specials. Every day from 3 to 6, all day on Tuesday and Sunday. Waldo's Chicken and Beer. Real food, real flavor, made from scratch. I will call out the argument that Penny Hardaway has had 7 great seasons with the University of Memphis and had 1 bad season. Number one, on its face, he's not had 7 great seasons with the University of Memphis. He's had 1. Last year was a good season, and they still lost in the first round of the NCAA tournament. What happened to the standards of Memphis Tiger fans that you're willing to say, like, not even have the conversation? Like, not even have the conversation about Penny Hardaway's future at Memphis because he's Penny. Okay, great. He's Penny Hardaway. That's great. Like, yes, his impact will never be denied here in this city. But what happened to Memphis Tiger fans' standards of like where this is, like what this team is going to look like? I said this a few days ago. If you're willing to accept mediocrity, then continue to be on the Penny Hardaway train because that's what you've gotten from him. Tune in to Tigers Live with Francis Carlotta, live after every Memphis Tiger basketball game on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
It's easy to kick him. Okay, I get that. I think that's every head coach, though. Whenever things are going south, the head coach always gets blamed. It's the line where he says he's been kicked ever since he's been here that really gets to me. And then there was one tonight in the coaches, in his Monday night coaches show, that he's been waking up to negativity from fans and media every day, the past 8 years as the Memphis head coach. That's concerning. That is not true. If he truly believes that, I think he needs like a sports psychologist or something. For real.
Yeah.
Like to talk to somebody, because it's not true. Any other person in this situation.
The idea that Penny Hardaway feels like he's been treated unfairly by this media, the sports media, the fans.
I mean, he said fans too, which seems crazy to me.
It's just delusional to me. Tune in to Tigers Untapped with your hosts, Trey Lasley and TJ Willis, every Tuesday at 3 p.m. on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel. Some dreams don't just come true, they come with 4 paws. At Puppy Dreams, we match loving families with happy, healthy puppies. From playful companions to lifelong best friends, your perfect match is waiting. And with our professional grooming spa, your pup will look as amazing as they feel. Visit Puppy Dreams today and meet the one who's been waiting just for you.
Welcome back to the Two Buck Sports Show. I am Rusty Buckets. Got my guy Wayno here with me talking NBA so far. Now we're going to shift gears to talk a little bit of college basketball, as King Meeks is currently at Waldo's listening to us, full and sleepy, eating some chicken today. Hopefully chicken and beer if he's not working, regular just chicken if he is. But appreciate you patroning one of our sponsors, Wayno, or King Meeks. We appreciate that a lot, buddy. So Wayno and I were talking a little bit before the show and some last night. As he's starting to watch more college hoops, he is getting into the college spirit of things, like all of us, as the tanking season kind of continues, Wayno. We were talking last night about some of the games going on, as some of the draft prospects that we're watching are starting to rise to the top, right? There's guys, we've seen Cam Boozer been playing his tail off. You and I were talking about Peat last night. We were talking about some different dudes. Like, who are some guys that you're keeping your eye on or have impressed you lately, or at least who have you been watching lately? Start there.
Oh, well, look, I've always been aware of the college game, so it's not totally beyond me, but I will admit, being the NBA head that I am, my college ball experience, I suppose, is more draft orientated. So this time of year is when I rely on other heads to inform me on who's who. But I have been watching a few more games. I've got to say, I'm a little disappointed, not in the games that I've been watching, because I feel like, I don't know what the gap is there, but I feel like, I suppose my question to you for a bit later is like, what does the college game do better that the NBA doesn't right now? Because there's just like a different vibe, a different atmosphere. Is it because it's more like neighborhood, like more, you know what I mean? Like it's more campus.
Yeah. On campus, college crowds will always have more of an energy, in my opinion, than NBA crowds, because of like who they're playing for, what they represent. Those guys, like now with NIL, it's a little bit different. But like growing up, like it was always that name on the front of your jersey that you were representing. Mississippi State, Ole Miss, Duke, Kentucky, North Carolina, whoever, Alabama, whatever you're playing for. It just means more, it feels like, in college. I'm curious how NIL is going to do with that. But college does do a better job with just the atmosphere, 100%. The passion, and the energy. Now, NBA playoffs can rival it. But, like, I watched the game last night, a rivalry game on a Monday night between Duke and North Carolina State, where North Carolina State didn't have a snowball's chance in hell to win that game. Yeah. And, yet that crowd was up. They were into it, and it was rowdy, especially early on.
Yeah, because, like, when we talk about, like, home court advantage and stuff like that, that's what I think of, I feel like college ball experience. Like, so, I've been really enjoying the atmosphere of that. I will say, like, my disappointment has been actually a couple of the games I kind of had players on my radar, and watching them, and look, granted, like grain of salt, this is like just one game expectations, bunch of highlights, but like, you know, you mentioned his name, Koa Peat. I was just a bit like, he does feel like a bit of a Roddy. And
explain that. What do you mean? Like, explain that a little bit. Like, what do you mean? Like, how does he remind you of David Roddy?
I suppose build-wise a little bit. He's stand around on plays and not quite as athletic as I thought he was as well.
Yeah.
So I suppose that's my comparison.
I do think he's a bit taller. He's 6'8", so he's a little bit taller than David Roddy, but I can see the comparison from the unathletic side of it and the inability to finish at the rim. He got punked last night. Yeah, he got punked last night by Iowa State, who is a really good defensive team, but it was in a blowout win where Arizona dog walked him last night, and he had like 4 points. Like, he's got boomer bust written all over him, and I'm trending more towards bust for sure.
Yeah, I was actually more impressed with his teammate, Jayden Bradley. I thought he was quite impressive, actually. I was like, oh, this kid's pretty good. So him, I'll have to say, I had high expectations for Yaxel in Michigan, which is a Michigan game. I can't remember if they played now. It was a couple of days ago. But again, I thought like some of these guys are like a lot of stand around waiting for plays to happen, a little bit of lack of aggressiveness. And I can't remember his name. You'll have to fill me in. But Yaxel's teammate, the other big, excellent.
Oh, yeah.
He was
Ade Mara, the big center.
Yes. I thought he was good and really rose to the occasion in that game.
His draft stock is going up. Yaxel Lundenborgs is going down. I've cooled on him a little bit. He was a guy that I was like, oh, the Grizzlies got to go get around 14, 15 or try and get with that magic pick trade up for. His own court production has gone down a little bit. The biggest thing is like the last few times he's been on a microphone, for a guy who's a senior, he's a fourth-year player, been around college game for a while, he just has a lot of mental lapse on the microphone, to me showing immaturity, where he tried to punk Cam Boozer, though Duke and Cam Boozer had a better game and Duke beat them. And he tried to say something about like, oh, Cam Boozer because he gets all the calls and he's not an actual basketball player. And then like earlier this week, there's something else he said on the microphone, and maybe after the Purdue game. I don't know. I've been disappointed with some of his maturity for a fourth-year player, and I don't need another locker room style, like cancer-esque. And I'm not saying that's what he is, but we've had one of those, and it sucks. And again, Ja's a great player. Everybody loves him. I hear all that, but we're not winning, right, because of Ja's immaturity. And I don't need another guy like that when there are better options around him, and including he doesn't play the same position. But watching Braden Burries last night from Arizona be gritty when he hurt his leg early in like the first 4 minutes and came back and played really hard down the stretch for Arizona as they were pulling away to get that game last night. Again, I watched Thomas Howell from Florida just absolutely dominate Arkansas last Saturday. Like, that was a big one. A lot of eyes were on that game from Bluff City media because of Darius Acuff, and this is a chance for Arkansas to go down and get a statement win. Florida's going to be a team. They won me the $2 Sports Show bracket challenge last year. I picked them to win it all. I picked them to beat Houston, and that's exactly what happened. Florida's going to be a tough out. They are deep. They are experienced. Even just as freshmen, they play really well together, and I really like that Florida team, specifically Thomas Howell, and he's the guy that I wouldn't be upset if we took him instead of Yaxel with that Orlando pick.
Yeah. Look, you know me, we've been chatting about the draft and whatnot, in our group chat, and I've been on the side of precaution, like, don't get me wrong, I want Boozer, I want all these big names. Yes, give them to me. But I've also been like, man, if the ping pong ball goes the other way, I think we kind of need a brace and be ready for that middle of the pack in the first round somewhere. So that being said, there is one guy that I want your thoughts on. I have been quietly obsessed with him all week since the weekend, like watching, jumping back into college hoops. And it's a guy who's, I think, currently around the 20th pick, 21, around that range. I've been super impressed with him. He's only 19 years old, 6'11", power forward. Probably going to mess his name up, but Chris Cenac Jr.?
Cenac from Houston. Yeah.
Man, I like that kid's game, man. Like, I know, I think recently I heard like he's he hasn't been like standout. But I just sort of think if we can take, I suppose to bring it full circle a little bit, and developing guys and taking the longer out with bigs. I mean, I like the fact this kid rebounds like a monster. He's long. He's 19 years old. He has a really nice shot, like a really nice touch. I watched a couple of his back to the basket plays. We turned a real nice fadeaway and can shoot the deep ball. I suppose saying that out loud, that does sound a bit like Jaren a little bit.
I was just about to say the only difference.
Rebounding.
Yeah, rebounding is better. He's also not a very good rim protector. The little bit I've watched him, I haven't watched him a ton, but the highlights that I've seen and what I've seen of him play, his defense leaves a little bit to be desired. Next to Zach Edey, you don't necessarily need that, but like he's not going to be a guy that's going to get in the paint, block a ton of shots, be a force in the paint. But Ninja DJ says players from Houston, and he's right, are always disciplined and they always play super hard. And if he's coachable, you can coach a guy how to be a better lane presence on defense. You can coach a guy how to block shots, that kind of stuff. Some of it is instinct, and that's what Jaren was so good at. Like his instincts on defense were like second to none. Yeah, but you can coach some of that stuff. And so Cenac is a guy that I like. That's a good deep cut for that kind of later pick. If that Orlando picks end up in that 18-20 range, that's a good deep track for sure. Yeah.
Do you ever on anyone else? Yeah.
For me, shout out Coen. Jayden Quaintance is a guy from Kentucky who I've been quietly watching a lot. I've mentioned him a couple times. He's a sophomore. He's averaging 10.7 points, 10.7 boards, almost 3 stocks per game. He's a guy that I've just like quietly been watching him progress. His upside is super high. He's a guy that missed some time due to injury. He's a guy that has been he had some leg issues and he tore his ACL and he's coming back from an injury. And I hear you, Edward. We don't need anybody with injury woes. It's one ACL injury that he's coming back from. But like, much like a lot of people see potential in Elijah Arenas, just with their natural raw talent, I think Quaintance is a naturally talented big man. He's 6'10", 255, back to the basket kind of guy. He's not a great three-point shooter, not going to be a guy that's going to develop like a deep shot, but you want a guy that can just put his back to the basket, go get you a bucket, who rebounds at a high rate, especially on the offensive end, Wayno. Quaintance is a guy that I would not mind taking a flyer on with our second, that later pick, should we get the opportunity. I do like his upside. It is super intriguing.
I want a fan favorite. We get a third pick in the draft. I want a fan favorite. And I mentioned him to you yesterday, actually. I want Coen Carr. I want the dude who can just jump out the gym and excite me and get me out of my seat. Like all these other guys, production, solid. That's all fine and dandy, but I want a guy who excites me. We've had some just pretty subpar seasons of recent times, and I want a guy get on a fast break and just rip the rim off. Like that's what I want. I want to feed that inner child.
You're sounding like Uncle Buck there, because Uncle Buck is always like, go with the athletic guy, even if athletic guy can't shoot. And that's where this kid is. Like he doesn't have a great jump shot. He's a guy that doesn't, shoot the three necessarily well. But buddy, if you want a guy who can get you a highlight dunk, like that's the guy to go get, right?
It was amazing. His bunnies.
I don't disagree. Like from Jaren's alma mater, Michigan State, Coen Carr, like he's again uber athletic, jump out the gym guy, but like old boy cannot shoot. Like his shooting, his form is terrible, and his shooting splits aren't really great. But like again, a guy's going to jump out of the gym and get you some cool dunks. That's your guy.
Hey, so you're saying just save him for 2K.
Stromile Swift, right? That's Stromile Swift. I can't shoot a lick, but going to tear the rim off the goal.
No, I say that just to sort of square back. Like I'm really looking forward to this draft and us bringing in guys who are a bit more good to go.
Yeah. And Edward, in a great transition for the last guy that I wanted to talk about today, you need a pro level skill to survive in this league. And what about a guy who's already playing some pro basketball? Shout out to Coen for putting me onto this, because he was the one that pointed out that Zach Kleiman was in New Zealand watching Karim Lopez play basketball over for the Breakers. And so I've been watching a bit more highlights. I've been watching this guy's skill. There's something there. He is uber athletic. He's good in space. He blocks shots at a pretty high level. Like, he's got some good defensive instincts. He's a guy that feels like somebody Zach Kleiman is going to just fall in love with. Obviously, he flew around the world to go watch this guy play, but he has a lot of the intangibles that ZK likes to draft. And he's a guy that is playing in a high level league right now, getting some pro level experience. Yeah. I don't know. He's a guy for me to watch. He's listed. He's like a top 5 small forward over on Tankathon, I think. He's a guy that I'm curious to see what we do with that Magic pick, and wouldn't be surprised if we reached for somebody, it would be Karim Lopez.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised at all. I'm a bit spoiled because he plays in the Australian League with the Breakers. I have to admit,
tell me about him. Talk me into him or talk me out of him.
My thing is, I don't know that he excels in any one thing, but all round he's excellent and he has a real smooth game. He's 6'8", so I say this very lightly, but his demeanor on the court and the way he plays kind of reminds me of Cedric Coward. Mm-hmm. Just that, he's got a real nice touch, and he's 6'8", moves really well on the court. And
he has a very explosive first step. Like, if he can get
for his size,
he moves quick. That first step is dangerous.
Yeah. And look, he's had his struggles, but he's also, I think, especially the later half of the NBL season, he's definitely developing and rising to the occasion. So I wouldn't be mad with that. He wouldn't be my first choice, I don't think. But if we're using that second first round pick on him, I wouldn't be upset with that either, and just adds to what we already got.
He is a monster shot blocker. If you haven't watched him, shout out again, Coen, Wayno, you've talked about him. Y'all go watch some of his highlights. Guy is uber athletic. He does move. Ced is a pretty good comparison, but he's got 2.5 inches on Cedric because he's 6'8" plus.
Yeah,
but he just moves super, super well. And give me a Spanish, Australian, Kiwi Cedric Coward. Yeah, absolutely, man. He's got a pure jump shot, great defensive instincts. And I was watching some of his highlights this morning, getting ready for the show. And what I appreciate about him is he's not afraid to make a move for the ball. No. And he's quick enough to recover. I saw a highlight where he went for a steal and the guy got around him and was going for a layup. And he was able to pivot, get back, and get a huge block off the backboard that turned into a run-out layup on the other end. I like what I see from him. He's athletic. He's still raw, but there's a lot of, and you hate this word, but there is potential there with Karim Lopez.
Yeah, look, I think when I say he's got a smooth game, he not quite Tim Thomas. For a lot of people maybe might not know that name, but does things effortlessly.
Mm-hmm.
Tim Thomas used to do it to an extent where it felt like he looked like he was being a bit lazy on the court. Mm-hmm. It's not quite that case with this, but I just find that he's got a smooth game. He does things quite effortlessly on the court.
Sure.
So you'll turn around and go, oh, okay. And he's involved in all the plays.
Mm-hmm.
He's just involved. So yeah, I would not be upset with that at all.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. Well, listen, we're going to cover the draft. We're going to cover players in depth. We got plenty of time as we work our way through the entire first round of guys. I think as we get closer, we'll just start taking we'll go to the big board and we'll just start taking guys one at a time, working our way through how they would fit on the Grizzlies. We gave you some names today to go watch. Do some homework. Let us know in the comments. If you're watching this back later, comments help us move up in the YouTube algorithm. We appreciate those later comments. It's great participating in the live show. That helps us so much. But as you're watching this back, watch some highlights of these guys. Drop comments. Let us know. Are these guys you would want? Are there these guys you would want to avoid? Are you worried about Quaintance injury issues? Is Karim Lopez just really good internationally? Does it translate to the NBA? Let us know. We want to know your opinions in the comments, and we'll interact, and we'll definitely hit you back and let you know our thoughts. But, Wayno, anything else before we get out of here for today?
That's it, man. I think we covered it. This is thanks for the call up.
Absolutely. Anytime. Be back tomorrow.
I'm in.
Let's go. So we'll have Wayno back tomorrow as Drew and his lady are enjoying some time away. He'll be back on Thursday for the show. But for Wayno, I am Rusty Buckets. That's going to do it for your Tuesday edition of the 2 Buck Sports Show. We appreciate everybody being here. Give us a like on the way out the door. It means more to us. We appreciate it. Helps us more than you know. Y'all go be a friend to somebody who needs a friend, and we'll see y'all tomorrow.
Thank you for listening to the 2 Buck Sports Show. If you enjoyed this episode, leave a rating and a review wherever you download your podcasts. Also, like and subscribe to Bluff City Media's YouTube page. We'll see you back here next time.